Hello, everyone. I'm Tanner. I'm joined here with Olivia Fabry, Notre Dame icon, pole vaulter, and now influencer. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me, Tanner.
Oh, thanks for joining us. Can you tell me a little bit about your athletic journey and how you got to Notre Dame?
Yeah, for sure. My sport, pole vault's a little niche. So I actually started with gymnastics and volleyball. I did gymnastics for like 10 years and then volleyball for a little bit in high school, but ultimately made the decision to leave gymnastics the summer going into my freshman year of high school for a lot of reasons, but mainly my parents wanted me to quit. It was just like very time consuming, expensive sport. My high school didn't offer it, so they didn't want me to miss out on my high school experience. And honestly, I kind of just tried out pole vaulting because it was the most similar to gymnastics. So I tried out pole vaulting and I liked it even more than I liked gymnastics.
Yeah, that's crazy though. So you started pole vaulting in high school,
Yeah.
and you were a
Yep.
state champion too, correct?
Yeah, I was state champ 4-time indoor, 2-time outdoor. So I choked at state my freshman and sophomore year of high
But
school
that was
on
your first
outdoor.
year. That's crazy.
But outdoor I choked. But I never lost indoor state, which was
Nice.
good.
Wow, that's incredible.
We always joke because for safety reasons, like you had to have a pole vault coach, obviously, and my school didn't really have one. So my dad was my pole vault coach, even though he knew nothing about pole vault. So he's like the Wisconsin's like winningest like pole vault coach or something. Just because like he was
That's
my
awesome.
coach, and like now he's done. So it's kind of funny. But
Well, I bet your dad's stoked about that title. That's pretty
yeah,
funny.
he's hype.
And obviously, you're a double domer, so you did your undergrad and graduate studies at Notre Dame. Could you just tell me about a typical day for you with training and class and all that?
So kind of depends on the day. Someday we would start with a swim workout for like cardio in your pool.
Yep.
Those are hard. I don't know how you were a swimmer. It's too hard for me. So I normally have an 8 a.m. class and like 3 probably classes a day, sometimes 4 if I had a lab because I was a science major undergrad. And then like a lunch break and then go right to practice where we would normally practice for like 2 hours and then have lift after if it was the lift day. And then obviously recovery, then go home, do some homework. And I'm like, I need to be asleep by 10:30. So I had a rule where if my stuff wasn't done, I would try to get it done by 10:30. But if it wasn't, I would just go to bed and finish it in the morning because sleep was like the most important thing to me.
It's pretty interesting you say that. Some of the other folks we've talked to, and also myself included, a big misconception for like high school and middle school athletes is that they can cut out sleep of their schedule and expect to perform well in school and athletic.
It was
What you said.
definitely a learning curve for me. I would say my freshman and sophomore year of college, I was not sleeping well. Like I would stay up all night doing homework, doing projects. But then I kind of feel like you just grow to learn that harms you more and you don't perform well in any area of your life. It's so hard to catch up on sleep. So definitely prioritizing that.
Yeah.
It's something you need to learn early.
I agree. You know, you're an elite athlete. You're doing a ton of NIL stuff. You're trying to find jobs. Like, how do you manage like everything? Like, do you have any strategies to stay organized?
To be transparent, I have like horrible organizational skills. I have ADHD. Like it's really hard for me to complete small tasks.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I have to send an email, like I will not do it for weeks. Like it used to be like really bad because I was so unorganized that probably in high school it wasn't as big of a deal because I didn't have as many things going on. So I kind of like was able to look past it. But when you get to college, you like can't exist that way anymore. So for me, I really have to schedule out like every single part of my day on Google Calendar. Like I'm very forgetful, so I will forget something completely if I don't put it on my calendar. My friends mess around with me because it's literally like 15-minute like chunks the whole day. I'm constantly editing it, hanging out with my friends on my calendar. I have a boyfriend who literally will invite me to things like via Google Calendar because otherwise I will like I can't agree to this. Like I need it on the calendar. For me, that's how I stay organized is I need to be able to like look at it. I color code it. I spend so much of my time rearranging that. But before I had that tool, like I was seriously always late assignments, like nothing on time. So that was also something that I really needed to work on. But now I feel like I have it really under control, which is good.
Awesome. Yeah, I know the Google Calendar is super helpful, especially like coordinating things
Yeah.
with other people. My next question was like, what do you do to stay cool under like high pressure situations, whether it be performing
Yeah.
athletically or, you know, you have a paper due or.
Yeah, this is like kind of another thing about me is I perform my best when I'm under pressure. Like sometimes it's hard for me to even do anything at all until it's like an emergency. Like my
Yeah.
friends always say like a fire drill. It has to be a fire drill for me. I think that helps a lot in sports. Like when I had the adrenaline, I would perform better. Like I didn't get super nervous with track meets, but for school, it was definitely a challenge. I a lot of times wouldn't start things until right when they were about to be due or supposed to be due. And I honestly did this for a lot of college too. So grad school for me, I like set a goal. Like I'm going to do my homework ahead of time. I'm going to get it all done. I'm going to chunk it out. So that goes back to Google Calendar. Like if I had a project due, I used to start it like the night before, the day before. And now I would make smaller goals out of a big goal. So that's like what my advice is to younger people is if you have a big goal, like break it down into actionable chunks. And so I would say like if my project was due Friday, like Monday, I'm going to do the research. Like Tuesday, I'm going to make an outline. And so I wasn't left to like scrambling the night before.
So it sounds like you're a very process-oriented person, right? Breaking the huge idea down into constituent chunks and being able to kind of digest that and get it done. You know, there's a lot of stigma about asking for help. Did you ever utilize like any resources at Notre Dame that allowed you to excel in areas where you felt like you were a little weaker in?
I had tutors in a lot of my classes freshman and sophomore year, which I don't think I would have done well without them. They were great, and obviously like we had that. But my freshman year of college, we had mandatory study hall 3 days a week, 2 hours a night, and all the freshman athletes were in D-bar in this big building. No phone, like they would take your phone away. Like if you talk, you're going to the computer lab, and it seems like, and so I think that was a super helpful resource for me. And then obviously like my athlete academic advisors were kind of on me a lot. Like they would say like, oh, you did bad on this exam, or oh, you didn't turn this in. Like why? Like you're getting a text immediately. And so I think that that's super helpful because you know that someone else is also holding yourself accountable even if you aren't. So I think the resources were great for me. Shout out to my tutors and to Tara, who was my academic advisor.
And especially the sports psychologists at Notre Dame, I thought were second to none.
Senior year and fifth year, and I wish I would have started way sooner. For me, when I heard sports psychologist, I thought like, oh, this just is if I'm having anxiety about my sport, which I never really had. And I wish I would have realized sooner that your sport is really wrapped up in like all aspects of your life. And they're not there just to talk about pole vault. Relationships or like managing my academic stress or even like trying to figure out what you're doing with your life when you're in your 20s. And all of that does affect how you perform athletically. So I think that I wish I would have gone to them sooner, and they were a huge asset to me for my last 2 years.
What advice would you give to up-and-coming college athletes or kids in high school that you think would be super beneficial to know? What do you wish you could have told yourself like 10 years ago?
That's a good question. I would say what I would tell myself 10 years ago is to start developing these good habits earlier, being more organized or using the resources better and use every resource you have. I would utilize your Google Calendar. I would utilize like academic advisors. I would just start to build these healthy habits before you're off on your own, because it is harder once you have like the freedom of college. Try to be aware of the small things you're doing every day because they really are the big thing.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to join us, and hope you have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, you too. Thank you, Tanner. It was fun being on here.
No problem. Thank you.
Bye.